The root cause of your suffering is because you were built to create things and not just dream about it. Hey guys, I'm JJ. I like to write about productivity, business, fitness, self-discipline, all those kind of things. If you want to check out my Medium, it's in my link tree below, but let's just go ahead and get into it. We all have goals for the type of person we'd like to become, whether that's getting in shape, reading more, writing more, starting a business, improving our relationships. And that's great because this is what we were made to do. We see opportunities, ways that we can improve, and our purpose is to work towards improving those things. But converting those dreams into action and a plan proves super difficult. You're spinning your wheels, waiting for more answers or more clarity to come. You tell people that you want to do this thing, but you never actually do the thing. And you think that there's going to be a day when you wake up and feel ready. That day will never come. If you don't start taking action, you will get to the end of your life and regret not becoming what you could have. You'll regret all the times that you didn't start that day at that moment. You'll just imagine everything you could have become. I'm not saying all this to scare you. What I'm trying to do is motivate you. If the idea of wanting to improve even exists in your head, that means that it's possible for you. The fact that you recognize that these possibilities exist means that you have the capability to create them in the physical world. But people who are intelligent and creative will run into a few problems when they try and change. They fear being bad at things and don't want to be embarrassed. They believe that there's one right way to start doing something. They think the more information they collect, they'll be better at that thing. They believe they have to make huge changes and dedicate 12 hours a day to something to be giving it an honest try. So number one, you fear being bad at things and don't want to be embarrassed. Now, I was not born naturally coordinated and super athletic. And this is how I end up crying over a friendly game of bowling, or for instance, the first couple times that I went skiing. It was horrific. That one fall or one gutter ball that I throw sticks in my mind, and every time I think of trying something new, that becomes my excuse to never try it again. And we do the same when we try to change our behavior in any meaningful way. Maybe you try going to the gym for the first time, but the weights that you use and the exercises that you do are, quote, easier than other people, so you're embarrassed and you don't want to go back. You post an article, you post a tweet, you post a video, but it gets no attention, so you just end up deleting it and moving on. You try one practice test for a potential career that you're interested in, and you don't get 100%, so you decide that you're not good enough to do that. This is the path to becoming old and having a bunch of wasted potential at the end of your life. And I know all these things sound super irrational, but there really is something there to when you're naturally gifted at, say, like academics, it becomes really hard to let yourself be a beginner at things, especially if that period of you being naturally talented occurs when you're younger. The type of person that you admire and look up to probably has little fear of embarrassment. They take the risks needed and they do what they need to do to become the person they want to be. What you don't realize is that these people look and feel like an idiot at first too when they're trying that thing for the first time. In the US, we definitely idealize the trope of like the prodigy, the natural superstar, but these types of people are really outliers. Most successful people have failed, iterated, tried again, failed again, iterated again, tried something new, and finally made it work with one thing, and that's all that you see. It may seem like an unfair advantage for prodigies to be as naturally talented as they are. But the really beautiful thing is that your transformation is actually going to come in the journey of you learning to be the person that you want to be. Number two, you think that there's one right way to start learning a skill, trying an activity. This ties in somewhat with the last point. If you try something and it doesn't go as well as you imagined, you just give up and never try it again. You do not need the best equipment or a perfectly tailored plan to start learning and acting on something. You just need to start. I've been interested in writing since I was a kid. I was definitely a bookworm growing up, and so that naturally translated into me wanting to write. The genre that I wanted to write would vary, but the underlying feeling and passion remained. My purpose in the world was to take in information, organize it, find patterns, find ways that people can improve their lives, and disseminate that information into the world in some way that it would help people, whether it made them laugh, cry, get inspired, think harder about something, or change your behavior. It doesn't matter to me. All that matters is that I am impacting someone positively. I would continually wonder what's the right genre that would allow me to make it big. But I've come to realize there was never a right genre or a right time to start writing. The only wrong way to do something is not at all, and the only right way to do something like writing is to just start. Number 3, you feel like the more information you collect on a topic, the better you're going to be. Highly creative and intelligent people definitely fall victim to this mindset a lot. The advent of social media was simultaneously one of the worst and best things to happen to me. There's obviously a lot of great information on there that I wouldn't normally be privy to, but additionally, it allows that numbing of the constant thoughts that I have in my head, and so I can just spend days and days and days just scrolling. I like to call this information on tap, and it can essentially be your greatest asset or an Achilles heel that holds you back. It's also not black and white. The process of us learning to use this massive amount of information correctly and not be used by it is a long and iterative process, but that doesn't mean you have an excuse to just postpone your journey and say, well, I'm learning to use this information correctly. Information consumption is really good for motivation, inspiration, getting you to think critically about that topic, and it can also expose you to new ideas, new activities that you've never seen before. But media consumption and information is terrible for execution, taking action, exposing gaps in your knowledge, and building something from the ground up. So start now. Don't wait for the next book, the next course, the next video to give you what you finally need to start. I use all of the above to kickstart my mind when I really need it. I'm always reading a business or nonfiction book just because I find them to be motivating. But there's no one course or book that is going to save you. You have to save yourself. Number 4, you think that you have to make huge changes in your life and work like 12 hours a day to give something an honest try. You will make more progress working on something new for 1 hour a day versus 12. This is for the simple facts that 1, the chances that you're going to persist in this endeavor are like 80% higher if you only commit to 1 hour a day. Number 2, the activation energy it takes to get yourself to do something for 1 hour is much lower than for 12 hours. Might sound like I'm contradicting myself a little bit. How can we learn and iterate and find the gaps in our knowledge in only 1 hour? Luckily, Parkinson's law holds the answer for us here. Parkinson's law states that any task will take the amount of time that you allow it to take, essentially. So if you give yourself 12 hours to write an article, you're probably going to spend about 10 hours looking for inspiration, browsing various sites, looking for the perfect way to say something. But if you have 1 hour, you don't have the time to do that, all of that kind of productive procrastination. All you really have time for is to write, and writing is exactly what you need to do to get better at writing. It's 1 hour of pure execution, and even if you do 12 hours of other work, you may not even do 1 full hour of work in that time. And then, of course, there's the great benefit of you have more free time in your day. You can recharge mentally, you can gather more ideas, your brain is primed to do something even cooler the next day. And it becomes less of a chore, an obligation in my opinion, and becomes more of like an explorative time of like, oh, I'm learning this new hobby or new activity and I'm gonna do it for an hour every day and see how it goes. Besides, most people watching this probably have a lot of other obligations other than the hobbies and the skills they want to pursue. 1 hour might be the most time that you have to dedicate to this, and that can definitely be enough. Why is it wrong to wait for the right time to do something? Isn't it better to just follow your gut, let your mind tell you when you're ready? This is definitely applicable advice in like survival situations or with relationships. If you don't feel like something's right, it's obviously best to get out of that situation and pursue something different. But we're talking about self-improvement here. And self-improvement is really unique in that you're trying to reach those higher levels of self-fulfillment. So it kind of goes against your natural biological wiring a little bit. The problem with wanting to get better with business, with money, with fitness, with food, you are primed to choose comfort over change, even if the change is a long-term positive. You will never feel prepared to start a new skill or learn something that might be embarrassing to you. You will never be prepared to put your product or service out there knowing that you might face critique. You will never feel ready to read instead of scrolling on your phone because the latter is psychologically easier. The problem with waiting to be ready is that you'll be waiting forever. This is my system for taking imperfect action. This is how I've tricked my brain into adopting new behavior even in the times when I was the least motivated and the most lazy. So I will play like a YouTube video in the background which kind of soothes that scrolling itch for me, and I simply get ready to do the action that I want to start doing. So this can involve, sitting up, changing clothes, getting into the car to drive somewhere, sitting at my computer, etc. I then, once I've taken that first step, I do allow a buffer of 10 minutes where I can just kind of screw around if I want to. When I'm on my computer, I'll split my screen, and on the left I'll put like a YouTube video or social media or whatever I want to be doing. On the right half of the screen, I'll put my work, something that I should be doing. If we're in a fitness or nutrition situation, we're dividing our attention between the things that are easy and the things that we want. So I almost like hold the healthy ideas and routines and behaviors in one side of my brain, and then the things that I really want to do, I hold in the right side. And then after you've allowed that buffer of time for you to just kind of like chill, either in your workout clothes, in the car, whatever, take one action on the desired side of your brain. It will be easier than you believe it will. Why does this work? Well, my first action is often something like I write a kind of crappy tweet, I'll defrost some chicken breasts, or I'll be walking on the treadmill. And these activities trigger a cascade of thoughts in my brain that reminds me of the person that I'm trying to become. When I'm writing a crappy tweet or a bad article, I see all the other people that are writing and are successful doing it. I look at the nutritious food that I'm defrosting and think about how all the nutrients are going to work in my body to make me better. When I'm at the gym, I look around at all the people who are fit and strong and think about how I could be just like them too. Putting yourself in the right environment is crucial, and taking imperfect action is crucial. Some of the things that I've been able to accomplish because of this method: I got a high GPA in undergrad, I got a full tuition scholarship to law school, I have a higher muscle mass and a higher metabolism than I did 5 years ago. I've been consistently writing and posting now for a full month, which is much longer than I've ever done before. The little things matter too. Reading about 2 to 3 books a month when I used to read 0. And my screen time is down from 12 hours to 4, 5. We're getting there. You could do all of the same things I just listed and build a business, travel more, build your social skills, learn a brand new skill and teach it to yourself, and whatever else you desire. You may have heard people say before, anything worth doing is worth doing well. This is great advice for someone that's already a certain level of an industry or a skill, but it's terrible advice for beginners. The first time you ever try something, it's not going to go well. And as you know, there's huge value in taking these actions, even if they don't measure up to your expectations. Your journey to becoming the best person that you can be is about making mistakes, correcting course, trying something new, reaching out for help, being okay with your mistakes, and then becoming an authority who can help others in turn. Here's my 3-step process for conquering the someday syndrome. Remember that the world's greatest all started off as nobodies. Step 1 is we're going to define our minimum viable action, or MVA. What is the smallest action you'd be willing to take within the realm of what you're trying to improve? The value of MVA is that it creates something that is measurable and also realistic. Starting a journey like this is confusing, it's ambiguous, you don't know where to start. And everyone's journey is different, so, while there is like quantitative measures like money, body fat percentage, whatever, yours isn't really going to tell the story of how far you've come. Instead, let's look at how many days in a row can you complete your MVA, minimum viable action. This helps solve that analysis paralysis of not knowing if what you're going to do is the right thing. You just do one thing. Pressure of wanting to do more. Maybe you feel stagnant even though you are actually improving, or maybe you feel like you're improving even though you're not really, because you're doing the wrong things. You could write one tweet, you could eat an apple, drink a glass of water, make your bed, and replace just 5 or 10 minutes of scrolling with a different activity. Of course, your MVA is going to change over time because you're not going to run a half marathon if you simply put your running shoes on every day. But it's that initial burst of motivation that you need to build the momentum and roll down the hill like a snowball. Step 2 is we're going to embrace the flop. We're going to embrace the failure. This is a really big part, to learn to celebrate your failures instead of dreading them. You can see how far you've come, or if you've just started, you can see that you did something. At the minimum, it shows that you tried something. You might be embarrassed about not being an overnight success, but embracing failure is going to help you get there. One thing I've done in the past is I wrote a post, got 0 views, 0 likes on it. I actually screenshotted it and framed it on my wall because that was the very first thing that I started. Take a before video of you trying to exercise. I have really bad squat form. I took a video 1 year ago of me just doing a squat in my living room, and I'll take a new one every once in a while to see how much further I've come. Step 3 is releasing things and showing the world before you're ready. Make your failures public even when you're scared to. You can rewire the way that you think about failure. The way to solidify your new mindset of accepting failure is by being proud, showing others, and telling them that you're failing. Write bad articles and make bad videos and post them. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. Resist the temptation to delete stuff when it doesn't do well. I constantly feel like this, but I leave them up because one day they're going to prove to other people and to myself that everyone starts somewhere. Create a product or service. Obviously don't scam people and price things super high, but create something and put it out there. Go work out in front of other people. Don't avoid the busy parts of the gym just because of the people around. Go out by yourself in public. I often like to sing to myself in public. Go conversate with people. It's really not as scary as you think. I provided you the blueprint you need to accomplish anything you want. This is your official warning that you have consumed enough information today. Now go do something with it. Best of luck, guys, and let me know how I can help you.